One of the positions that I think the Bears need desperate help at is safety. Look, I love Eddie Jackson. He's literally one of my favorite players on the Chicago Bears and has gotten all kinds of undue hate over the last 2 or 3 years, I'd say. But he's getting a little old. And when you lose a step in the NFL, sometimes that's the difference between the free safety being there to scoop up a 10-yard tackle, or like we saw against the Packers game, he's just one step behind, and Bo Melton darts inside and turns it into a 25, 30-yard explosive. Free safety is a cruel position. If we got any hockey fans in the chat, I mean, free safety is a lot like goalie, where nobody gives you credit when things go well and everybody wants to blame you when things don't. But one player that I have found is an Auburn safety named Jalen Simpson. And oh my word, Q, has he got instincts. His tape reminds me a lot of Jair Brown from last year, Penn State DB. He attacks crossers beautifully. He sees the play developing before it happens. He's exactly the kind of player that I think the Bears need to put next to Jaquan Brisker. And hey, if the Bears don't want to cut Eddie Jackson, I'm not going to be upset about it because he could easily be a DB leader in the room. But their second safety right now is still Elijah Hicks. I mean, we can do better than that, right?
Yeah, I hope so.
But Texas A&M receiver Aeneas Smith, he's a grinder. He's the kind of guy that you draft to be your wide receiver 3, and then you hope that he turns into like a Khalil Shakir type in Buffalo, right? Always in the right place, always at the right time, and outstandingly physical in the way that he plays the game. And these Bears receivers, I mean, Q, if you saw the same Bears team I did, I think that they want to add bodies that can block. And so 5'10, 200-pound Smith is a great option that you might be able to get in the 4th or 5th round that could bring that along with him while still providing a boost. I mean, obviously, we hope it's not the only receiver in the
Yeah.
draft.
And I mean, you're right. I was writing up a report the other day for Roman Wilson out of Michigan, and it was like, man, I liked his tape, but I just wasn't sure there was a fit there for a Shanahan offense because you look around the league and you see Jawan Jennings, you see Alan Lazard, you see these big blockers in the
Yes.
slot there, and that's not really your typical slot receiver though. So I think it's a really good point.
Right.
With the hiring of Shane Waldron and how much motion they use and kind of the player that they like to motion, I think Lad McConkey is such a perfect Bears fit. Like he makes so much sense for that role. Someone you can get on the move. You can use vertically. He's a good route runner. He separates. He can make things happen after the catch. I just think with that versatile of a skill set, those are the guys you want to get on the move and make and put defenders in conflict. And Shane Waldron's going to be looking for guys like that because I think DJ Moore is going to fit more of like your X receiver, line him up on the outside like DK Metcalf, and they need kind of that complement. And I think there's very few better options than that than Lad McConkey.
I am worried that Lad McConkey, despite the fact that he makes so much sense for the Bears, because he's a slot receiver that gets open at will and he blocks like crazy. I mean, not to quote Moneyball here, Quentin, but Lad McConkey's biggest fault is that he doesn't look good in his pads, right? You look at the
Yeah.
guy and you think to yourself that he looks like a high school walk-on, right? But he's got great feet. The problem is, Q, I don't see how the Bears get a pick in the, let's call it like very late first, right around there where Troy Franklin could go, right around where Devontae Walker could go. Like maybe the Bears trade down from 9 to like 30, but
Right.
I doubt it. Right.
Yeah.
So he may just be a player that the Bears are going to miss simply because he won't be at any of the spots where they're going to want a receiver. And in fact, they may have already taken one earlier in the draft.
Yeah, I think that's a really strong point too of like something that you didn't really think about that much until you start trying to. This is something I noticed last year until you start really trying to build a board for yourself, and you just go, man, this player just doesn't make. He makes all the sense in the world for the Bears, but he doesn't make sense because of where he ranks and where
Right.
their picks are, and it's just going to cost too much capital for them to go find a way to get that player. It just won't add up anymore, and I think
Right.
that's a really good point.
I just got a Nehemia Pritchett with Auburn and really good press man corner. One of the better ones I've scouted in this class. His zone instincts are a little, they need improvement, but at the same time, I'm watching it and he had 3 defensive coordinators with Auburn. And I'm like, is this a matter of him having poor zone instincts, or is this a matter of him and his teammates constantly having to learn new defenses, figure out where they are, and just kind of not know, what their assignment is? So it's taking that and trying to project it with coaching. Can this be fixed? So,
Right. And that's a huge thing in it, right? Like, of separating the situation from the player and the
right.
personnel from the player and the circumstances. Like, it's something that I really enjoy in the draft process.
Yes.
It's like you're putting a puzzle together, right? And you're trying
Right.
to find the answers of like, well, what can this guy be with the right coaching? And obviously, it's all under the assumption that the guy's coachable and the guy
Right.
is smart and the guy, like, you can't really figure that out on tape per se.
Mhm.
But what you can figure out is this guy's got the tools. He seems to have the
Yeah.
goods, but everything just keeps going wrong for him. And that might be the Bears'
Right.
benefit if we get
Right.
this right.
A lot of guys that I like, obviously the Bears have a need at center. Ask any Bears fan, they're going to say that's might be their number one need. So a lot of good guys I like, but one guy I'm going to be pounding the table for is Jackson Powers Johnson, the guy, center from Oregon. He's an underclassman, so he declared early, which surprised a lot of people, myself included. We thought he was kind of going to go back, but when you watch him, like if you do just watch, if not everyone's crazy and watches the All-22. If you just go and watch his like highlights, you'll see a ton of pancakes, just crazy great blocks. But he's so much more than that, and you miss that just by watching the highlights. Like there are guys like a few years ago, I liked Mekhi Becton from Louisville, kind of busted with the Jets. He had a lot of pancakes on his tape, and it was really easy to fall in love with that, but you missed all the nuance in between. But with Jackson Power Johnson, he not only has all those pancakes, which are so much fun to watch, but he has all the nuance on the plays in between those pancakes. So good with his hands, light on his feet, good size, everything really you want in a center prospect. He has that. And then he also, on top of that, has all those exciting pancake plays and really good combo blocks and everything like that. So he's a guy that I think is a perfect fit for the Bears. Now, he seems to be rising a little bit. Dane Brugler had him in the first round of his mock. So before it was kind of looking like he was second, third round. If he gets in that first round, the Bears probably don't have an opportunity to draft him, but still, he would be my guy that I'd be pounding the table for. Maybe if they could pick up an early second round pick with a trade back or trading Joseph Fields, whatever it is, he'd be the guy that I think they should target.
So when I think I've watched 3 games of him, and like halfway into the second game, I got a bright idea that lasted for all of like 15 minutes because I was like, I don't have time for this after 15 minutes of doing it. But I was like, I can throw together a 5-minute cut up of this dude just crushing inside zone and duo block combos. Like that's just like, and by crushing, I don't mean the pancake. I mean, like, he is just flawless. It is so beautiful. Like if there's a really popular O-line like run blocking seminar on YouTube from Jim Mouse McNally, where it's like he spends probably about an hour of it just talking about inside zone footwork. And it's like this JPJ could be the poster child for it. It's just beautiful.
Yeah.
Make sure to go over to ontapsportsnet.com. We have scouting reports being published daily, 2 per day lately. And we will be coming to you live from the Senior Bowl next week. 3 days of practices. We'll be live after each practice, giving you our thoughts, our breakdowns, what we saw out there. Myself, Robert Schmitz, and Steve Letizia will be there on site in Mobile, Alabama for it. So thank you guys for watching again. Make sure to subscribe, like, comment. Let us know what you think. Let us know players that you think we might be forgetting about or not seeing. Thank you guys for watching, and bear down.